Truth does not demand belief. It does not ask for worship, nor for defense. It stands silently, untouched by agreement or denial, radiant even when no one looks. To see it, you do not have to believe. You only have to stop insisting that your thoughts are real. From the moment we are born, we are trained to believe. In names, in nations, in promises and fears. Belief becomes the scaffolding of identity. Without it, the ego trembles, for belief is its oxygen. But awareness itself needs no such support. It does not believe in light. It simply sees. This is the paradox the wise have whispered for millennia. The truth is self-evident, yet invisible to the mind that needs proof. The more we try to define it, the further it retreats behind words. Belief is the fog. Seeing is the clearing. You cannot think your way into reality. You can only awaken to it. Imagine standing before a sunrise. The colors unfold across the sky, not because you deserve them, but because the sun rises. Now imagine closing your eyes and demanding evidence that light exists. That is what belief tries to do, prove what is already shining. Belief is an instrument of the mind. Truth is the essence of being. One moves, argues, categorizes. The other simply is. When you are identified with thought, belief feels like stability. But when you awaken, you see it was the turbulence itself. The Buddha once said, "Do not believe anything, even if I said it, unless it agrees with your own reason and experience." But he wasn't referring to intellectual agreement. He meant inner seeing, direct perception without the filters of conditioning. This is the birth of insight. When awareness recognizes itself as prior to every opinion, science calls it observation. Mysticism calls it witnessing. Both point to the same frontier, the space before interpretation. The mind interprets, awareness experiences. In that gap lies freedom. And when you dwell there, even for a breath, you begin to taste what the ancients called enlightenment, the unmediated intimacy of being. The tragedy of humanity is not ignorance, but overconfidence in belief. We believe in my truth and your truth, as if reality fragments to please our preferences. But truth is not democratic. It doesn't shift to match emotion or culture. It was true before language, before stars cooled, before life called itself I. When a mind obsessed with belief meets truth, it feels threatened. It asks, how do I know this is real? But the question itself is illusion, because knowing is not a mental act. It is the direct recognition that you are the field in which all thoughts appear. You are the awareness that hears this voice right now. Before you believed anything, you were already aware. Every spiritual teaching is a raft to carry you to this realization. Once you see, you drop the raft. Dogma dissolves. Words become transparent, like glass that no longer hides the sky. You stop worshiping the finger and start seeing the moon. So many seekers spend decades polishing their beliefs. They read, debate, compare, collecting ideas like ornaments on an altar of uncertainty. But truth cannot be domesticated by opinion. It reveals itself only when you are willing to stand naked before mystery. Only when you dare to know nothing. To know nothing is not ignorance. It is innocence reborn. It is the mind at rest, free from the addiction to certainty. In that stillness, the universe breathes through you effortlessly. You realize that awareness was never personal. The one who believed was only a pattern of thought, waves mistaking themselves for ocean. When you release belief, something extraordinary happens. Perception clears. Colors grow vivid. Sound deepens. Time loosens its grip. You see without agenda. The world, once blurred by judgment, becomes alive again, each detail shimmering with quiet intelligence. This is what the mystics meant by seeing the face of God in all things. Belief tries to replace vision with interpretation. It says, this is good, that is evil, this is sacred, that is mundane. But truth knows no hierarchy. It is the same light shining through every form. The moment you stop dividing, you start seeing. Even the idea of seeking truth can become another obstacle. To seek implies that it is elsewhere, hidden, conditional. But truth cannot be approached. It is what you are. A wave does not have to travel to find the ocean. It only has to stop pretending it is separate. And yet the journey of awakening is not a failure. It is the sacred play of remembering. Through belief we fall asleep, and through disillusionment we awaken. The pain of false certainty softens us until surrender is the only option. Then we discover that truth was never lost, only obscured by the noise of thought. The saints and sages didn't discover something new. They uncovered what was always there. Their enlightenment wasn't an acquisition, but a subtraction. They unlearned everything unreal until only awareness remained. And in that awareness, even the need for belief dissolved, like mist in the morning sun. So if you want to find truth, stop trying to convince yourself. Let every belief fall silent and observe what remains. Don't rush to name it. Don't decorate it with philosophy. Simply notice that you are aware, and that awareness has never needed your faith. Truth is not fragile. It does not require followers or defenders. It does not fear scrutiny. It invites it. Because whatever can be questioned is not it. That is the beautiful danger of awakening. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Belief may return, like a tide, but it can no longer drown you. You've tasted the sea beyond the waves. You know that you are not the story but the silence that listens. Most people do not seek truth. They seek comfort that looks like truth. We want meaning that flatters the self, beliefs that protect identity. But truth protects nothing, because it needs no defense. It destroys every mask with the gentleness of light erasing shadow. The ego fears this. It has built its kingdom on conviction. I am this body, this history, this opinion. When truth shines, those walls dissolve. At first, that feels like death, but it is only the death of confusion. Control is the ego's final fortress. It says, if I can manage reality, I will be safe. But safety does not come from control. It comes from surrender. Every attempt to manipulate the flow of life tightens the knot of suffering. When you let go, life moves through you with perfect precision, as if it had been waiting all along. Watch how belief and control dance together. We believe in order to control uncertainty. We control because we fear our own vastness. The ego cannot stand openness. It feeds on boundaries. But the truth is boundless, and to meet it, you must step beyond the edges of identity. Modern science whispers the same secret. Physicists discovered that observation itself shapes matter. Reality is not fixed. It responds to attention. The observer and the observed are not two. What you see is a mirror of how you look. Change the quality of your seeing, and the world changes with it. Spiritual vision is the same principle applied to consciousness. When you observe without judgment, you no longer impose distortion on what is. The universe reveals its original transparency. Belief collapses the field into opinion. Awareness keeps it infinite. That infinity is your natural state. You can sense it when thought pauses. In that gap, even for a second, existence becomes self-luminous. There is no subject or object, only the brilliance of being aware. That is the moment between inhale and exhale, between note and silence. Most people hurry past it, chasing the next thought. The awakened linger there, and in lingering they are free. Notice how belief disguises itself as virtue. We call it loyalty, morality, tradition. But true virtue does not depend on ideas. It flows from clarity. When you are clear, compassion arises automatically. You do not need commandments to be kind. Kindness becomes reflex. You do not need reward or fear of punishment. Love itself acts. Religions began as glimpses of that clarity. Over centuries, belief replaced seeing. Ritual replaced revelation. The form survived, the essence slept. Yet even in the ruins of dogma, the light still glows. Every prayer, every mantra, every scientific curiosity is the same impulse, the longing of consciousness to remember itself. So what is enlightenment? It is not a thunderbolt or a crown. It is the ordinary moment finally seen without distortion. A bird crosses the sky, a leaf falls, a stranger smiles, and suddenly there is only awareness, seamless and unbroken. You do not reach it. It reaches you the instant you stop resisting. Many ask, how do I sustain it? But that question belongs to the seeker who believes there is a state to maintain. Awareness does not come and go. Attention does. You do not have to hold on to the truth any more than you hold on to the sky. Just notice when you drift into thought and return again and again until returning itself dissolves. Fear will still visit. Old patterns will reappear, trying to reclaim authority. Do not fight them. Fighting is belief in disguise. Simply observe. A thought seen clearly is a thought already undone. Like fog in sunlight, it cannot survive transparency. Gradually, the world softens. People you once judged reveal hidden innocence. Situations that seemed cruel unfold with hidden purpose. Even suffering becomes sacred, a teacher wearing a dark cloak. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start seeing this too is part of awakening. The mind tries to measure progress, but truth has no timeline. Every experience, pleasant or painful, polishes the mirror of perception. Nothing is wasted. When you realize this, gratitude replaces ambition. You thank the obstacles because they reveal the resistance still hiding inside. In that gratitude, the heart opens completely. And when the heart opens, thought bows. For the first time, intelligence and love are not at war. They merge into wisdom, a seeing that feels. From there, life becomes art. You speak, move, create, but without ownership. Action flows through you like wine through a flute. This is the end of belief and the beginning of knowing. Knowing not as information but as communion. Belief says, I think this is true. Knowing whispers, I am this. In that whisper, the universe recognizes itself. Yet even this realization must eventually be released. The mind will try to turn it into a concept. Another belief to protect. Do not let it. Stay fresh, childlike, empty. Every moment is a new doorway to the same infinity. The awakened never graduate. They keep discovering. When you no longer cling to belief, life stops being a debate and becomes a dance. You are moved, not because you know the steps, but because the music leads. There is no need to prove, defend, or persuade. Everything unfolds as expression, not performance. This freedom feels at first like loss. Without belief, who are you? Without a future to reach for, what do you live for? Yet as the scaffolding of concepts falls away, something vast and simple remains. You are still here. Breathing, seeing, feeling. Awareness did not vanish. It expanded to fill everything. The ego once claimed ownership of life. It said, my thoughts, my choices, my achievements. But when ownership dissolves, intimacy replaces it. You begin to live in direct contact with reality, unmediated by interpretation. The boundary between inner and outer fades until existence itself feels like your skin. Then a quiet compassion arises, not chosen, but inevitable. Because when you see that all minds are waves of one ocean, how could you condemn another wave? You see through the masks of cruelty and ignorance, and recognize the same longing for peace that once lived in you. You respond, not with superiority, but with tenderness. Even anger softens into clarity. This is not passivity, it is participation without possession. You act where action is called for, but there is no residue of fear or pride. You speak truth when needed, but without the armor of righteousness. The energy behind words becomes clean, direct, simple, alive. Such speech heals because it carries no hidden agenda. In this space, you discover that forgiveness and perception are the same. To forgive is to see truly. There was never anything to pardon, only illusions to overlook. The world does not need correction. It needs vision. And vision returns the moment you stop defending belief. Look at a tree, a stranger, your own hand. The miracle is already here. Awareness radiates through form as form. The ordinary is the divine in disguise. Belief tries to make the sacred special. Truth reveals it as universal. The wind moves through leaves without philosophy. The heart can do the same. When thought ceases to dominate, silence speaks in a language older than words. That silence is not empty. It vibrates with intelligence. It guides without command, comforts without promise. It is the same presence that held you in childhood, the same stillness behind every heartbeat. Call it God, the Tao, consciousness. It does not mind the name, and as you live from that silence, time loses its grip. Moments blur into a continuous now. You notice that life was never a sequence, but a single unfolding event. The past is memory arising now. The future is imagination arising now. Only this awareness is constant. Only this presence was ever real. The seeker dissolves here. There is no longer someone looking for truth. There is only truth looking through someone. The eyes that once searched the horizon turn inward and vanish into light. You realize the end of the path is the disappearance of the traveler. The journey was a circle drawn by love, so you could rediscover where you already stand. From this point, words like enlightenment fade into irrelevance. There is nothing to achieve, nothing to lose. You wake each morning, and the world greets you as itself, vast, transient, shining. You drink water, wash your hands, feel sunlight on skin, and it is enough. Ordinary life becomes holy ground. Even belief in awakening dissolves. You see that truth never required awakening because it was never asleep. Only thought slept, dreaming separation. Reality simply is. It has no opposite, no condition, no beginning. It cannot be reached because it never left. The mind may protest. It can't be this simple. But simplicity is its greatest fear. It thrives on complexity, because complexity guarantees its survival. Yet when you stand in direct seeing, complexity collapses into wonder. You laugh softly, realizing the cosmic joke. The one searching for truth was truth pretending to be lost. This laughter is liberation. It has no mockery in it, only relief. You feel lighter, not because problems vanished, but because the you who suffered them was never real. Life continues with its seasons, its birth and death, but the background of peace never wavers. You are the still point around which change dances. Sometimes grief visits, or loneliness, or uncertainty. But even these feel like weather across a vast sky. You allow them fully, knowing they are made of the same awareness as joy. Nothing needs fixing. The heart can break wide open and still shine. This is the mature freedom, soft, human, infinite. Truth does not remove the world. It reveals the world as yourself. Every sound, every face, every shadow becomes a reflection of the one consciousness exploring its own depth. You look at the stars and sense they are looking back. The observer and the observed dissolve in the same seeing. Belief cannot reach this. Only presence can. So now you live quietly, without agenda. You move through days as a witness of light in motion. You rest often, laugh easily, forgive quickly. Nothing needs to make sense anymore, because meaning has merged with being. You no longer believe in the truth. You breathe it, and when your final moment comes, it will not feel like an ending. It will feel like exhalation, a soft return to the silence that has been watching since the beginning. The mind will fade like music at dusk, and only awareness will remain, serene and untouched. The truth does not need belief, because you and it are the same. So let everything fall away. Let faith, doubt, philosophy, and fear dissolve in the radiance of direct seeing. Beyond belief, beyond reason, beyond even understanding, there is only this luminous presence, infinite and ordinary, whispering through every form. I was never hidden. You were simply looking elsewhere. Now you see, now you know, and knowing requires nothing.